All right, so we're gonna do a little review of two wire brush machines. The Makita 9741 and the Restorer. So I've had the Makita for quite some time. This one is a new acquisition and I've been using it, kind of testing them out. And I'll tell you some of the key differences and the key factors that would probably affect which one that you would want to buy. The Makita is way more money. It's got a bigger wheel on it compared to the Restorer. It's a bigger motor in it, and when you're using it, you've got to hold on real tight. It'll take you for a ride, but it gets the job done. One major difference between the two of them is the location of the dust port. On the Restorer, it's on the back, which I think is a more intuitive place to put it. When you're scraping the stuff off, then it's sucking off the back. This one is placed up here, kind of in the top, and so the dust is going around, and then it has to change directions and come out the other side. The Makita comes with only a few options for the brushes. I've got the wire brush one and the nylon brush, because that's mostly what I'm using for what I'm doing. By contrast, the Restorer comes with a ton. Wire brush, stainless steel, stripping material, flapper sandpaper, polishing brushes, light polishing, heavy polishing. It's got a sander wheel where you can put the round sander pads on it. So way more options on this machine for what you can do. Stripping cars, stripping wood, vehicles, polishing, sanding, doing a whole bunch of stuff. I think this one, the Restorer, is a little bit more ergonomic as well in terms of how you're holding it, and it's not quite as exhausting to use. They're both aggressively going after whatever you're attacking, well, in my case, barnwood, and they're gonna, give you a little bit of a workout. This one gives you a little bit less of a workout than this one, probably in part the size of the motor, probably in part the size of the brush. The Restorer has a speed adjustment, which the Makita doesn't have. So if I was to say, you were in barnwood or in woodworking and you had to make a decision between the two of them, kind of based on just a cost analysis, which is Makita's way more money than the Restorer, and the fact that Restorer is a bit more, the Restorer is more ergonomic, has a better location for the dust port, and has a variable speed control and way more options, and is actually quite a bit easier to swap out. Like when you want to swap out to a different head or brush, that's as easy as it is. With the Makita, not the end of the world. You've got to pull this pin out right here, and then that long pin comes out. You pull this deal out, put the next one in, and sometimes it's a little tricky to fish it down through the slot and into the bottom, then you tighten it back up. So definitely swapping over and getting back to business with the Restorer a whole lot faster. Now let's run them across the boards and see what they look like. So a lot of what I'm using these for is for cleaning up barnwood before it goes into some processing, to get down into the grooves and the cracks, to get out any of the years of gunk that's kind of inside of there. But I don't want to sand the boards down because I want to leave a certain amount of character. And that one does a good job. Now I'll swap over to the Makita. So you can see they both do a pretty similar job. They both got the wire brush on them. You can kind of see that the location of the vacuum on the Makita is sort of weird and hangs out, and depending on how you're doing stuff, even if you have it turned around this way, you still have the course kind of hanging out the side. Now, one of the things that the Makita has that the Restorer doesn't is on the back they've got this wheel, this ride wheel, I don't know what to call it, and then they've got an adjustable wheel on the front, which kind of comes in handy if you're trying to be a little bit delicate about it. So you can use that back wheel to slowly pivot and let the brush engage with your wood. And if you don't want it to chew in too far, you can also set this front, which sets a maximum depth of what it's going to go and touch your wood. And so you can do only a fine brush, or you can, set that up and then go in a lot deeper. With this, you're kind of doing it by hand. There's nothing really to ride against. So you're holding down and then sort of using yourself as the gauge. So as you're going along, it might grab some wood and pull down and go up a little bit more. I think that what they've done though is with all the different attachments or heads that you can get for it, you can change the aggressiveness of how it's attacking the wood, and maybe go with essentially like a lower sandpaper or something like that, or a lower grit sandpaper. Whereas this one has a little bit more adjustability. So this one's got a 7.8 amp motor and has revolutions per minute of 3,500 per minute. This one has a 3.5 amp motor, and you can adjust the speed between 1,000 and 3,200 RPM. So the max RPMs are about the same on both of them. Like I said, this one's got a bigger motor, but at the end of the day, you've got a heavier machine that's doing about the same job with a different location for the port. And with this one, you've got a ton more options. So for price, design, and the options, I think that the Restore's, you know, a better bang for your buck.